So, I'll kind of go over a bit of what's going on. It's a really nice storm outside. I don't know if you can sort of see it if I dim the light enough, but it's really pretty. I love when it storms. It's so sad though that this rain season was much more of a monsoon season, so a lot of people had flooding damage in their houses. That's the sad part. But it'll all be cool. I'm sitting in the Fiddler's parking lot. Um, so about a week ago, just a bit. Today's Wednesday, so yeah. Last Friday, I had to get tested for COVID because on Thursday, I had a bad freak out and I called in sick because I freaked out. And even though I'm trying to not do that anymore, it's really hard, when I'm having my anxiety's too high to go out and my depression's not helping either. But I can't say that to things like that. I can't say things like that to people because sorry, my alarm went off to make sure I got here in time for the appointment, but I actually came early just because I didn't have anything else to do. But yeah, no, so I called, end of story, I called in, which I shouldn't have done. I've really been trying to beat that, but some days my head has such a grip on me and I can't do it, and I don't know why. I am doing better with this job, but I can't do stuff like this. I just can't. And I've got to get some way, somehow. The good news is that Alton got hired on at the same time as me. And I think that with Alton and I working together, we'll be able to get each other out of bed perfectly fine. Alton doesn't really have a problem going to work. I think he's got a very good work ethic. I think I think he's feels the same way as I do, but I know he has a very good work ethic, and so and I strive to, but I have a really hard time with that. And so once we're going together, I think that's not going to happen again. He's getting all his physical stuff done today. So that'll be good, hopefully. The COVID test, it's a van thing. I discovered this last time. It's just a little van. It's a big van thing that they tested in. And I feel really stupid coming because it's the second time. I'll explain why I have to do it 2 times in a second here. They'll be here in like 30 minutes, so that's why I'm just chilling. Because I needed a minute away from everything to chill. I don't know why, but my car is a nice chill spot. Both with my minivan and my Subaru that I'm in now, it's always been my safe place. Car's my safe place because it's mine and I can lock it, and it's small, and it can run away, and it's obviously that's not the way I should be thinking about life, but it's something I look at. Anyway, so I had to call out, and of course, because I call out, they're like, okay, well, you have to get a COVID test, and I'm like, fine. Technically I have symptoms anyway, I just wasn't reporting them. So I was like, well, I mean, technically I should have, I was lying to the front door guy. But because technically I have symptoms. But I knew I didn't have COVID. Well, I say I knew. I was pretty dang sure I didn't have COVID, because what it is that I have asthma, and the smoke had been rolling in. I'm looking over this way because that's the west. The smoke had been coming in, and it'd been really bad from the wildfires on the west coast. There's not even any ones that are too bad in Cedar, but it's been all over us, especially because our wind is a lot, there's a lot more wind carrying it over than there was the last year's wildfires. These ones have definitely been a lot more smoke. And I think in a way, the smoke has helped to make it rain. I don't know if that's a thing, but like, you know, you see the smoky rain clouds and I'm like, oh, I don't know anything about meteorology, but I think that has something to do with it. Which, to be honest, we needed the rain so bad. I could care less. But it was hurting my lungs, and so technically I was already this whole thing's just me trying to lie for convenience sake, and then it ends up just biting me in the butt. But we'll get here in a second here. It ended up being sort of good, I guess. Obviously, lying's never good. I strive to be an honest person, but when my mental health, when my brain, the problem is that when my brain is not able to fully understand because of my anxiety that I'm in danger, I lie out of instinct because I'm trying to protect myself, and that's not what I should do, obviously. But you know, the not able to work because I'm coughing, and I'm like, instinct, I have to protect myself. I don't want them to get rid of me. I don't want them to put me off. I don't want them to have to worry about me. I don't want to have to, you know, cause a scene. And those are all very real fears of mine, and it almost paralyzes me. Because it's just makes me so anxious. And so I say, no, I'm fine. So the smoke's been bad, and I know that's what's been bothering my lungs, because that always bothers my lungs whenever we get smoke in town. Because the last few years, wildfires have been really sucky. Luckily, Utah is having less because of our monsoon season. That came late, but I'm glad it's here. We already had technically the warning's still on right now. It's a rain warning, but a flood warning, but it's not as bad as years past. I made sure to unplug my computers before I came over, though, just in case, because the last thing I need is my PC, which is like my guiding, like my safety net is my phone, my car, and my PC in Alton. I mean, like, I like my family, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying when I'm having an anxiety attack, it's Alton, car, PC, phone, you know. And music, obviously, you know, like that, but that's not really a physical. Anyway, so I'm like, the last thing I need is my computer going out, so I unplugged it. But, it's a very nice storm. I'm really liking it. So, smoke aside, had to go get COVID tested. So, the next morning, so this was Thursday. So, schedule it for, not Friday. Schedule it for Saturday. Saturday here, in the van, spit into a tube. They ran a test, came back Monday morning, sent it to the HR lady, said that I was cleared, says I was negative. Go into work on that Monday night to Tuesday morning. About 2/3 of the way through the shift. Well, it started before then. I had this pain all up my spine, mostly around my shoulder and my neck right here. And the scary part is I was feeling it all the way up, you know, my brainstem or whatever they call that, or spinal. I felt it all the way up my head. Every time I moved, because it's moving boxes. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the job hurts your back, and but I usually get over it. But this was so bad, I was like, oh gosh, maybe it's just because I haven't worked in a few days. I don't know. I mean, I only missed one day of work, but in compiling with the days I have off already by default, ended up being 4 days in between. And so, yeah, so my back is killing me. It still hurts, but it's not as bad. I don't want to take pain meds right now because I'm going to the doctor and I need to tell him how bad it is. But my back started hurting so bad, I took, I can gauge about how bad it is. Usually I won't take more than like 600 milligrams of ibuprofen, right? And that's for the really bad stuff, and this was pretty bad. And so I take 600 milligrams, and at least lets me be able to get through another 3 hours. Or no, 3 hours until my next break, right? And then I take another 200 because it's still not going away. And so at this point, I'm on 800 milligrams of ibuprofen, which is a lot because I don't take I try. I'm someday I'll take it like, period stuff, but I don't take ibuprofen often. I'm not like I take it every day sort of person, because I know some people are. But I'm not that kind of person, and so my body is fairly open receiving to it. Usually I'll take 2 for, menstrual pains. Unless it's my endometriosis, then that blows it out of the water. Ibuprofen doesn't even do anything because that gets so painful. I'm like screaming on the floor. Endometriosis aside, this was almost that bad because I was taking 800 and it was still killing me. And it was to the point where it was making me nauseous. I was, I could feel it in the back of my throat and I was trying to swallow it down. When you get that spit taste when you're about to throw up and you're like, no, 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 no. And I was able to hold it down while I was packing, and I was like, I am going to pass out. I'm going to pass out. I'm like, should I just tell someone? And of course my anxiety brain's like, no, because if you tell someone, then you're going to be in trouble and they'll hate you and they'll think that you're a wimp, and don't tell anyone because that's bad, and don't tell anyone because then you'll be in trouble. Which obviously that's not the deal, but like that's, anxiety brain. And so I'm like, no, I can do this. And so I slug my way through another 4 hours. We're about 7 hours in now. It's 2. No. Yeah, so it started an hour. It got worse it only took an hour for it to get this bad. Right, and so it's 3, just about 3. 2:40 something. Anyway, go to lunch. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. And I ended up, slamming my head on the table. Like, I had a cloth thing, but I couldn't even keep my neck up at that point. Like, my head was rolling around because it hurt so bad. And I'm like, I can't even keep my head straight. I don't know what's wrong with this. And it's never been this bad at work ever, and so I don't think it's just back pain, and so that's one reason why back pain caused from work, and so I don't think it's just that. I scheduled a doctor's appointment. That's in an hour because it's 7:42 now. We'll see if the COVID van shows up even with the flood warning. I don't know. If not, I don't know what to do. But no, my back was killing me. It was like, someone was taking spikes and shoving them in my spine or grating across my shoulder blade as well. And now it's mostly just sore, but occasionally I'll still get the spikes. The spiky feeling, but it's not as intense. Well, it started to rain. It rains really fast here. Like, it'll come in bursts. Really, really heavy. And then it'll go away for like 2 seconds. And then it'll be really heavy again. So I'm going to talk over it, because I want, I'll talk a little louder while it's going. Actually, it might be gone now. That's how long it lasts. So I'm through my shift, and I'm like, I am so nauseous. I can barely stand up. I can barely walk. My head's swinging. And I don't know what to do. It's picking back up here. I don't know what to do. And so, I feel bad because I bothered the manager on his break, right? Because I'm like, okay, I talked to Alton. I called Alton and I asked him for advice, and Alton says, you need to come home. If it's this bad, you cannot be there. I am worried about you. You need to come home. And so I went there and I gave a report I went up to him and I gave him a report and details and things. And so what ended up being the next part of this lied scenario, right, is that I played off, that it was the return of the nausea from earlier in the week. Which, to be fair, my problem is that I'm a white liar. Crap ton of the time. I get very nauseous when I get anxious. But I get so scared, and because people don't respect mental health as a thing at all. And I understand why. It's because they're scared to, because it's so easily manipulable. Obviously. I mean, look what I'm doing. I'm not helping. But this is just, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, I come home, I'm crying, I'm hyperventilating, but I've been hyperventilating for like 3 hours at that point. Like, I guess, okay, I'd been hyperventilating for a bit, but like before then, like I'd been having a hard time breathing, regardless of how much I was taking my inhaler, which was troublesome because every breath just made my back go in pain, And I'm like, oh, okay, that's not good. And so it made me really nauseous. Still makes me nauseous. I haven't been able to keep too much down. I did have a binge eat because I was scared. I had an episode. Because after I did go home, and I felt so bad that I started self-harming, unfortunately. I'm mostly just keeping this for record. Like, I'm not trying to say, ooh, I'm cool, because no. Shits. Anyway. I was getting so... Ooh. I love thunder, man. I love thunder. Oh, dude, that one was close. I'm glad I unplugged my stuff. And we'll see if the van shows up. It'll be here. My appointment's in 13 minutes, so we'll see. So I'll try and wrap this up fast. So I ended up having problems. I was punching things and punching myself and scratching myself, and I cut my nails really short so that I wouldn't do it again. They were already short because I've been having trouble with that lately from the Thursday, but then I made sure they were extra short so I can't scratch myself. I was doing this. That's why I've got a Band-Aid. My forehead was, this is from Friday still. And so, was punching things, I hurt my wrist, and then I was trying to punch soft things because I was trying to have at least some control. I don't do the whole knife deal because skin and blood freaks me out. So a lot of the time I'll bite myself. I can't remember if I bit myself or not. It was really bad. So I asked Mom for some calm down medicine because my mom has something, and I grew up taking it. Obviously it's not the best idea to take stuff you're not, like, you aren't personally don't have a prescription for, but she's been giving me this my entire childhood, and it does work. I'm gonna actually ask the doctor for some today because usually I don't need anything like that, but that I was so close to hurting myself that I just, or so close to, like, when I say hurting, I mean like dangerously hurting myself. I was obviously hurting myself, but like on a dangerous, like, hospital level, like I was very close. And so she came over and gave me some of that, and I was freaking out and screaming, and Alton was worried, but he didn't like, but I was losing my crap. And the reason I was losing my crap is because I feel so bad. I'm like, no, this can't happen again. I'm not having this happen again. I am not having this job go downhill. I cannot lose another job. I like this job. I'm not losing this job. And then it's just, I'm not having people hate me. I want people to like me at this job. And it was this whole deal of I'm mad because I want things to be different. It's going to be different this time. That's what I was like. I'm like, it's going to be different. People are going to like me, and I'm going to be nice, and I'm not going to miss anything, and I'm not going to have any anxiety attacks at work, which is way out of the water thinking. Obviously, that's going to happen, and it already has, because, that's my disorder. And so, like, no duh. It's like a guy hoping he doesn't have seizures at work or something, that's just how Anyway, I've had 3 emotional, so far it's been a month. I've had 3 emotional breakdowns and 1 panic attack. So they said since I called out, I have to get COVID tested again, because they were told by their upper-ups that I might have tested a false negative if I'm still feeling symptoms. They want to be sure. So here I am again, waiting for the COVID truck, and we'll see what happens. I'm hoping it comes today. It might not. But to be honest, even though there's a flood warning, it doesn't look too bad. As long as you stay away from the flood areas, it's like not bad at all. Not compared to earlier in the year where it was really bad. But yeah. So here I am waiting. I'm going to go to the doctor about the spine thing. It did calm down, but I ended up taking another 200, and it was still bad. So, painkillers don't work. I need something that's stronger, but the problem is I need something that I can still work with, because I'm using heavy machinery, which is dangerous, and, to be, like, drugged out and on that at the same time. And so, I'm not sure what to do about most of it. I do like the smell of the rain, though. It's nice. And then my latest problem, I'm wanting to hurt myself again, but I have medicine for it at home, but I don't want to take it just yet, because it's not at a dangerous enough state that I'm actually there, and 2, I want to be able to be fully aware of myself when I go to the doctor, so he can, diagnose me properly. Sorry, more shooty pains. Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. So yeah, no, I feel awful because I missed last night, and I'm uber paranoid because, since they told me you can't come into work, you have to get another COVID test when I left yesterday, right? But I'm paranoid that I'm going to get fired because technically I didn't call in to excuse myself, which is a stupid thing to be really paranoid about. Because, of course they know I'm going to be missing. They're the ones who told me I can't go into work. But I'm paranoid about it. Out of my mind paranoid. I am, like, freaky paranoid. I'm like, I'm gonna lose my job, gonna lose my job, gonna lose my job. Even though, no, I don't, they're so desperate, one no-call, no-show. Even if it was a real no-call, no-show, would, still, they'd probably still keep me on, or at least put me on probation. And they hadn't said anything, and the shift ended an hour ago. And they haven't sent me anything. So I think I'm just being I know I'm just being paranoid for no reason, but that doesn't change the fact. And it's raining again, and I love rain. The guys will be here in a minute, I would hope. So I'm gonna, keep an eye out. Hope they're here, because I need to get this done to go back to work, otherwise I'm gonna lose my crap. Hopefully I'll be able to get a note from Dr. Bullock that is something that explains all my bullcrap. And I'll try and explain everything to him, and then I'll get something to help my spine, or they'll figure out what to do, but it's in between insurances. I haven't canceled mine, luckily enough, because if I end up having to get a freaking test thing because of this, it's going to be absolute bullcrap. So, I might have to go and get a test of this. And I mean, even if I have to pay for it myself, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I'll make it up eventually. If I keep the job, obviously, Kayla, you're going to keep the job. You can do this. Keep the job, or in Alton, I'll be able to pay off a medical bill. That's fine. Look at this rain. Woo! It's coming down. I love rain. But yeah, no. So, I'm going to be okay. I keep telling myself, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. So, that's the current situation, is that I'm about to get a COVID test, then I'm going to the doctor. He's going to find out what's wrong with my spine, and hopefully why it's making me feel so bad and having a hard time breathing and nauseous. Then he does something to the company, because they were also asking for me to get a doctor's appointment so they can figure out what's going on, so they're not, in floaty nothingness awareness, which is obviously reasonable. And then hopefully that'll get sorted out and everything will be fine. That's the ideal scenario. Still no sign of granted, it's not even time yet. They've still got 5 minutes to show up or whatever, but I'm gonna double check the appointments on my phone, because now I'm paranoid I've messed it up. But cool, that was a long time. It is 1:07. It's been 5 hours, and they just barely showed up. Finally got here.